everybody. Thank you for joining us for a special Fireside Chat on this Tuesday. We're going to be talking to Raul Cardenas, who is an old friend of mine from back in my days in Dallas. He used to own a tri shop, literally called a tri shop in Dallas, and has launched a new product called QO Nutrition. We'll get him on here in a moment along with Om. But before we do that, just want to remind you guys that our latest digital magazine has dropped. But don't fret, if you sign up for our newsletter today, you can get it delivered to you within seconds. And it's got some great information in there, along with links to TriSlide and TriSwim, SBR Sports, where you could get free samples. You can also get 50% off of goggles and swimwear from Blue 70 using RTB Winner, and the link is in the digital magazine. Excuse me. In addition to that, want to let everybody know that She Strong and the Monarch 2023 taking place in Kingman, Arizona. And so make sure you check those out. They are in the newsletter. You can get there by going to runtrimag.com, going to the bottom and subscribing, or use the link tree, the link in our bio, as soon as this conversation is over. Also, just so you know, this conversation will be live. If you have to leave early, we'll be live, we'll be recorded and also posted to our Instagram account, plus our website and YouTube channel tomorrow, as well as being on our podcast by Monday, so you can train while listening to Raul and this conversation. We've been joined by Om Gandhi, who is one of our co-owners. Om, thanks for joining us and
happy
being a part of this
on.
conversation.
It looks like Raul is about to join us in a minute. I just wanted to add before he joins that podcast will be available on Spotify, Apple, and Google.
Awesome. Other podcasts that have been released have been the ones involving Rach McBride and Sandy Nypaver from Topo Athletics. So make sure you check them out. On the podcast, we've also have our Brandon Hozak, who has battling AS and will be racing Cocodona 250. You can check him out, and he's also the cover story for our latest issue. Perfect timing,
hey,
Raul.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for joining us. Raul, I gave the people a little bit of background on you and I, how we know each other, but I'm going to give them a little bit more, and maybe I might be refreshing your memory too. So a number of years ago, Raul owned a business called the Tri Shop in Plano, Texas. At the time, I was unemployed, and I was looking to start a nonprofit with a friend of mine called Greg Larson, and we popped into the Tri Shop to figure out how we could establish this nonprofit circling around helping people train for triathlons, and how we could work with the Tri Shop. Raul, do you remember it similarly? That was at least a decade ago?
Yeah.
So for the people who don't know you, Raul, give us a little bit background of who you are, what you did previously, and we'll get into QO. We'll get into some of your travels and what led to QO,
Sure.
but just give us some background on yourself.
I was an overweight person in college, and I started with a 5K and got into triathlon. I went from a 5K to a full Ironman in about a year. And after doing it for a few years, I had the idea of starting a triathlon shop, and had that shop for 10 years. That actually became one of the best triathlon shops in the nation. It was top 10 by Slow Twitch. So pretty cool experience. And then, sure.
I'm going to interrupt you. Like, as top 10, like, you have to understand what went into this store. They had an endless pool. They had a bike fit that was bar none the best, so that you got comfortable on the right bike for you. They had cycling classes there, plus treadmills. So if you wanted to test out running shoes, and then all the complimentary products like swim gear, goggles, bike shoes, running shoes, shorts, hats, and T-shirts. But it was a state-of-the-art facility. So don't sell yourself short on just.
Yeah, I think what made it popular too was the community that we built. We were big in getting people into triathlon, made huge efforts there. So A lot of people started with us and went all the way to Ironman as well, and I think that was a huge part of our success.
So let me ask you this. Obviously, you still don't have the store today for whatever reasons, but was part of the reason because triathlon in and of itself is just a very difficult sport to get people engaged with? Is it the expense? Like, where did you see the business for you happening if you were building a community and then deciding to close down the business?
Well, retail is tough to begin with, the scheduling and everything. Both my business partner and I had kids. So being tied up every single weekend wasn't the same as when we were 10 years younger. So that was probably the biggest reason why we decided to close it down. And I don't think either one of us, we missed a lot of things, but we don't regret it just because we had a lot of time to spend with our kids, growing as they were 2, 3 years old. So
in the few years after you guys closed the business, you probably were still kind of paying attention to triathlon business. Did you see anybody or did you hear of any businesses across the country kind of copying what you guys had put together
to
up
some
there?
degree. I mean, and we were flattered by it. I mean, we felt like we did things the right way, and we were happy for others to be doing things the right way, getting people on the right size bikes and teaching them the right things. So we always did our best to try to learn from the experts, like Dan Anfield, and that always helped to. We knew that we weren't the smartest out there, but that we could learn from the smart people, and that's what we strive to do.
Before we start moving on to what came next for you, help the audience, because we have a lot of people who are just getting started in triathlon that follow our accounts and listen to these conversations. Help explain to them why it's so important to get a bike.
The reason it's so important is because you're going to enjoy the sport a lot more if you get the right size bike. It's going to keep you from getting injured. You're going to enjoy your rides more, and you're going to be faster while doing them without spending any added energy. So say the biggest one is the injuries, though. When I started, I had a size 51 frame. I just bought a bike. I didn't know any better. And I have really long legs, so I really need like a 54, 55. And like I learned really fast that my knees were gonna started hurting and all that. So when we started our shop, we're gonna make sure that people know that they have to get the right size bike. And
yeah, when I hear people are like, "Oh man, this hurts or that hurts on the bike," I'm like, riding a bike, even for Ironman distance, shouldn't be painful. You should be sore pushing your body for 112 miles, but it shouldn't be painful. And it's always make sure you go get bike fit. So you close the store. Tell us what happens next in the endurance in your world that leads to continued participation in the endurance sports world.
Sure.
I kind of know, but I want you to tell the audience.
After we closed the store, my wife and I had talked about doing a sabbatical, taking a year off and just traveling some and doing some things. So we decided to sell our home because we knew we were going to be gone for a while. So we sell our home and we signed a lease at an apartment for 6 months. And we were 3 months into it, 3 months left in our lease before we left. And the building gets struck by lightning and catches on fire in the middle of the night on a Saturday, and the place just burns to the ground with all their stuff. So after that happened, we were like, okay, that's our sign. We need to go now. So that's what started our journey into our sabbatical. So it started 3 months earlier.
Keep your urban running adventures going all winter long with high-performance traction designed specifically for icy roads. The Catula Nano Spikes footwear traction have a low-profile design that won't affect your stride while running. The 10 ultra-tough tungsten carbide spikes give you traction that you can trust. Don't let the ice and snow stop you from reaching your goals. For more information, visit Catula.com.
Before we continue with the story, for those of you who are just joining us, my name is Jason Bahamundi. I am the founder and one of the co-owners of Run Try Bike. Joining me today is Om Gandhi, who is also one of our co-owners, and Raul Cardenas, who is the founder and owner of QO Nutrition. So you start your sabbatical 3 months early, and where do you go and what do you do?
We started in northern Mexico and moved all along the Pacific, hitting all the beach towns along the Pacific coast, all the way to Chiapas in the very south part of Mexico. But at one point, I told my wife it would be cool to do Caballo Blanco Ultra because I had ran it in 2019. Now it's 2021, 2 years later, and I'd say it'd be pretty cool to go back. So we go back. I rent a place for a week and get there, and because of COVID, the race was canceled. But the town, everybody was very welcoming, and they invited me out to run, and they still did kind of like a very special event, but it was very small, maybe like 15 people. So I run with them and decided to stay after that. So I told her, I was like, I love this place. I love the area. Let's rent a place for a couple of months and stay here and relax. So we rented our cabin and stayed there for all of March and April and some of May. And oh man, it was awesome 2 months. Just nothing but running. There's not much to do other than going out and being in nature. And going out to Urique is like kind of like if you went back like hundreds of years, because like the people there still grow their own crops. Yeah, it's something that you have to see for yourself. I'm trying to get a big group out there so that more people can experience it. It's a neat experience.
Did you feel like it was just a simpler life, that you didn't worry about technology and who's posting what to Facebook
exactly.
and Instagram?
Very
kind of
simple. Like from what you do on a daily basis to what you eat, you just don't have access to a whole lot. Like the one grocery store in town only gets groceries every 2 weeks. So you're out and you pretty much have to like eat fruits and vegetables and organic meat. So it's like very, very clean and simple life.
You're out there running, correct? You're out there running on the trails and in the mountains. You weren't running by yourself. Who were you running with?
Many of the runs were with Tarahumara. So when we got there, we met a family, and the family took care of the grounds of the cabin where we were staying, and they were Tarahumara. And after meeting them and living with them, and sharing coffee with them in the mornings and stuff, we realized that they had adopted a girl, a 17-year-old Tarahumara girl that had lost her parents. So the family had to move, and the girl was going to be pretty much left by herself. So we offered for her to stay in our cabin. So we gave her the upstairs bedroom, and she lived with us she was like a couple of weeks in, and she was very shy, kept to herself. But as she opened more and more, one night we were talking, and she goes, "Oh yeah, I ran Caballo Blanco." And I was like, "You did?" She's petite, and she's like I said, very young, 17 years old. I was like, "You ran it?" And then she's like,
Right.
"Yeah, I ran it in 2019, the same year that I did it." And I was like, "What was your time?" And she's like, 9 hours, and it took me 15. So yeah. After that, I was like, okay, I need to go running with you. So my wife and I started running with her, and during the one of the runs, she's like sharing her powder with us, pinole powder. And when I started training with it, I was like, oh man, this stuff really works. It's like really easy on your stomach, gives you a great energy. It's just very, very clean, and like the idea behind like works very similar to UCAN, but it's like completely natural. No preservatives, no additives, no sugar, and yeah. As I trained more and more with it, I was like, I have to do something with this. Yeah.
So when you were running out there before talking to her, you were still taking the stuff that you would normally take, whatever products you would
I
use
had
in the
carried
US,
a
you were
whole box
using
of
there.
gels with me that I had bought in Chihuahua in the city before heading out there. Yeah.
And the other people that you were running with, were
Yes.
they using, it's Pinoli, is that how you pronounce it? Were they using Pinoli powder, and looking at you like, what is this thing you're putting in your mouth?
They're aware of it because of the race brings people from all over the world. So they know that they take different stuff than they do, but it's us that we don't know what they're taking, or we're not willing to experiment, especially during a big race like that. But once I had time and started using it, I realized it's better than anything that we're taking here. So
your first reaction to the 17-year-old wasn't, oh yeah, but you're only 17 and I'm 45-ish. It was, wait till you get mine.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, I got smoked by a 17-year-old little girl.
Awesome. So we're obviously leading into the whole idea of how QO nutrition got started. So give us some background, because, and I asked you this in the green room, like, you're not the first person to have run with the Tarahumara or run in Caballo Blanco. So why has this not been something that people are looking for in the U.S. from the bigger companies?
I believe it's just because it's difficult. Like, to begin with, a lot of people they believe that pinola is just corn powder, and it's not. It's actually there's a lot more to it. It's different ingredients. So it has 3 carb sources from corn, oats, and rice, but it also has amaranth seeds, which if you look at the benefits of amaranth, one is like it stabilizes blood glucose, so you don't get that sugar spike. And then it has anise flower and cinnamon, which are great for settling your gut and for fighting inflammation. So when I started looking at all the benefits of all the ingredients individually, it all clicked. I was like, okay, like these guys have had it figured out for hundreds of years. And here this whole time, I thought they were just taking corn, but it's not. It's a lot more than that. And that's part of the reason why it works so well.
So you did research. What's your background that would lead you to start doing this research as opposed to just accepting, okay, this is what this is?
I don't have a nutrition background or anything, but just having tested so many products during my 9 years at TriShop and working with so many athletes and having worked with many nutritionists, I just knew that this product worked. And it, being an endurance athlete myself and having tried it, I said this is better than anything I have ever tried.
And you refer to QO, stands for Quick Optimal Nutrition. Excuse me. Why is that important? Why is it important that it be known as Quick Optimal Nutrition?
Because it's so much more than just a sports nutrition product. So the way they take it, I would say it's about 60% of their diet. So they make the powder and they keep many pounds of it in their huts and caves, and they take it on a daily basis. They carry a pouch around their waist, and if they're out in the field working or walking, all they do is take a spoonful of it and some water, and they're good to go. So it's much more than their running fuel. It's a meal replacement for them in many instances. So that's another thing that I liked about the product, that it's not just for the runner or triathlete. It's for anybody that wants to be healthier. Many of the Tarahumaras live well into their 90s, past 100, and they're very active the whole time. saw a guy well into his 90s climbing up a mountain that took me, I was like 3 hours into my hike and he was coming down. So I don't know exactly how long he went, but it was longer than 3 hours. And I asked him how old he was. He didn't look 90. He was 95, I believe, and he looked like he was in his 70s. Yeah.
Man, I don't know if I would go down there getting smoked by 17-year-olds and 95-year-olds.
Yeah.
I'd be like, stay up here in the States. I'll deal with it then. So I know you met Om at TRE. So Om, I'm going to put you on the spot because you got to test some of Raul's product. Give the audience a little bit of feedback and testimonial about Raul's
down
product.
Compared to all the, and compared and contrasted to all the sugary gels and things that I've had, it was like I told Raul in the green room, it was the best thing that I tasted at the running event. But I went up to him because Jason introduced us, and he gave me what I did not expect to get over there was a sample of like cookies, and I had the cookies, and it was like savory, it was delicious, and it was like I'd always had this conception that fuel had to be like just something you had to down for calories, and I'm like, man, this actually tastes really good for like fuel that's not like the regular hot foods and stuff that you get like later in the race. And yeah, it was, all I could say was awesome.
So Raul, how do endurance sports athletes use it? And let's break it down into runners, cyclists, and triathletes. Like they're going to be doing different things different ways. How do they incorporate your product into their
right now what I've
plan?
been telling people is just start make it the beginning of your work, like 10 minutes before your workout. Take this as opposed to a lot of people have trouble like with their pre-race meal, for example. Like if you take 2 spoonfuls of this and do this every time, you're not going to have stomach issues and stuff like that. So I tell them start with that and don't start taking those gels and other products so early. Get your body as you train more fat efficient and go longer and longer so that you start needing those gels and sugar products much farther down along the race. And I think that's how it's going to help most people, because all 3 runners, cyclists, and triathletes can do the same. As far as taking it during the course, I mean, right now it's more difficult because you have to like make your own gels, so to speak. Like if I just want to use Keto, I take the 2 spoonfuls before, but I also make a few gels that I can take during the remainder of the run.
Like
just
a
a sandwich
squeeze packet
baggie
type of
with
thing.
a little bit of honey and water and chia seeds or something like that.
So it forms like a gel-like consistency.
Yeah. And we actually have a question about that down in the audience from Mako Endurance Official. He joined late and he's asking if it's a drink mix or a gel. And that was actually a question I was going to ask as well, for you to tell the audience what forms the QO nutrition mixes come in.
Yeah, QO is only available in 2 forms at the moment. One is the powder, which is just imagine roasted corn ground to a powder. That's what it's like. It's a little gritty, but the flavor is really good. It just mixes well with water or milk or coffee, and take that before the run. And then also made it into a cookie. And the cookie is what's been more popular here lately, because I kept it really healthy. I used coconut oil as opposed to vegetable oil, just to give a little healthy fat to it. And I use stevia as opposed to sugar, just to give it a little bit of sweetness. And I didn't use regular flour. I used oat flour to make the cookies. And so they're very healthy, sugar-free, vegan, and they give you amazing energy. Obviously, it has the pinole in there as well.
And know, you mentioned sugar-free, which makes me want to go back to something we talked about in the green room. Other than the Caballo race you've also done the Leadville race. You mentioned that you took 48 gels during that race. Did you deal with GI issues during that? Jason's shaking his head. So talk
Well,
about that experience.
I'm
so
lucky in that my stomach can handle just about anything. I did feel really bloated, like towards the end of the race. It was visible. My stomach was very bloated, but I never had like I didn't have diarrhea or anything like that. What other people did, especially late in the race, you see it a lot after mile 50, 60. All sorts of issues pop up.
Cheryl,
But
like
I,
48. Oh my God, no.
yeah, I did about a gel every 30 minutes or so, plus some real food. So yeah, that's how I got to 48 gels.
I can't imagine. Like
Yeah,
I'm good on like one gel an hour, and I can't imagine trying to squeeze two
yeah,
gels an hour in them. Like
yeah.
so hard to do. The um the consistency of the product, and you're talking about like corn. Think about corn flour. So not to put you on the spot to introduce a whole new product, but
You
could we
can
make
make a lot
tamales
of
out of
different
this?
things. I wouldn't make tamales out of it, but uh, like today, actually, my mom and I made keto pancakes, and they were amazing. I think more like cookies or using it to batter stuff it's really good. I've been using it a lot to batter different things and put it in the air fryer, and it just mix it with some spices, and it's really good.
So it is a slightly different product than if we were to buy and one of the competitors, like a
Yeah,
scratch labs or a tailwind, then, right? Because you're going to put that
yeah,
in a
it's
bottle
very
and
different
you're going to
than
drink that.
anything you've seen. Like it's not gonna taste like Gatorade or anything like that. The This taste is more like roasted corn and oats, so the flavor goes more like with milk, water, or coffee, not necessarily with like citrus juice type stuff. It wouldn't mix well with that.
And it's going to be more versatile because if you're making pancakes and cookies, then you can make breads,
Yeah,
banana breads, and things of that nature with it. So for like an endurance athlete, if you're racing Leadville or Western States and you want to have that real food feel versus a gel, you could make a banana bread
yeah,
type product with your product and then eat that at aid
exactly.
stations and
Yes.
that kind of
Yeah, you
thing,
can
correct?
cook a lot of different things with it.
And so the way the body processes these all natural products that you're sourcing in Mexico, by the way, which is being consumed by the Tarahumara out there, and this is why Raul got smoked by 17-year-olds in '95. The actual same
Yeah,
product that they're using down there,
when
correct?
I decided to do it, that's the main thing that I wanted. I said I want to have the original recipe and source it from the same area so that I can tell people that they're getting exactly what you would get in the Copper Canyon.
So running a business is not easy, as Om and I can attest to, because we're doing it ourselves, and we're a startup no different than you. Our past experiences in life help us decide how we're going to move our business along. How does the fire that your family left, after 3 months versus 6 months, how does that play a part in your business? How does seeing the 17-year-old play a part in your business? Like, where do you find your inspirations to keep this business moving forward on those
Well,
hard days?
um, I'm a believer in God. Like when I went, I didn't know what was going to happen with my life. I just knew that I needed some time to relax, and as I did more and more soul searching, just kind of came to me. It just uh, felt it like a mission. Like this is what you're here for. Like to spread. You've never been happy with the products that you sold before, or with many of them. Um, like you have access to many people that are well connected, and especially in the run and triathlon worlds, and you know that this stuff works, and it's something that's going to be good for everyone. So start sharing it and see how it goes. And the thing was, like, I was never afraid, because I said, if anything, if it doesn't work out like I think, I can still kind of share it on the side and get a job if I need to, or do whatever. I have you know, previous experience before the shop where it wouldn't be difficult for me to find a job if I needed to. But so far, it seems like it's going well, and people are liking the product, and it seems like it has a lot of potential.
That's awesome. And from knowing you from at least a decade or so ago, I am beyond excited for you and this product. Help the people who are watching this or who will listen to this later on understand where you're at today, and where do you see this business going for yourself in 3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years, I see it expanding into many retail stores. Like, I've only been doing it for 3 months now, and I already have it in some pretty reputable stores, and there's more coming. So my goal would be to have it not only accessible to runners and triathletes, but more to just the general public. Like I said, anybody that wants to live a healthier lifestyle, or likes the convenience of it, just because the product itself is very convenient. And I mean, we all know we're always short on time and busy, and so I think it can help those people as well. So yeah, my goal for the next 5 years is to have it accessible to a lot more people.
Where can
Right now,
people find it today?
Like I said, I just started, so my website's not even complete. If you go to keonutrition.com, you'll find just a picture of the product and my phone number, so people are calling me directly to send orders, and a few local stores here in Dallas, but that's about to change because I just got reps in different areas starting this week. So it should be available in a lot more places. Plus, I should have my Shopify store open here pretty soon.
That's awesome. So before people just call you and start asking you, what's it cost? What's it cost? What are they getting for that price?
The bag of Keo powder, Keo fuel, it's retails for $49, and what they get is 1.5 pounds of this powder that, if somebody's using it for both as a meal and to train with it, it'll last you about a month. So it's very affordable. It's a lot less expensive than gels. You can fuel a workout for about $1, which, yeah, it's people that are using it have noticed, like, how it's a lot more affordable.
So you do have
athletes right now
in DFW that are using it?
Say above 100 athletes that are using it pretty regularly. Yeah.
I mean, this is, going to be a marketing statement from you, obviously, but what are they telling you about the product that they've enjoyed so far?
What most people notice is how satiating it is. Like 2 tablespoons and you feel like you ate a whole meal. You feel full for like 4 hours. And also, like, the clean energy that it gives you, just no ups and downs. You just feel like you have a lot of energy, but it's steady, not like a jittery type feeling. It's just, I mean, I'd say even cleaner than when you drink a cup of coffee. Like, I now will not drink a cup of coffee unless it has a tablespoon of Keo in it and a little bit of coconut oil.
And so with the powder inside the cup of coffee, since it can be made into a batter, is it just because it's more liquid than the powder, and if you're going to make it in a batter, you have less liquid type of thing?
It's the taste is good. It's just a lot easier to mix in hot or cold coffee, either one.
Awesome. if you have questions, we're gonna jump into a little bit of a rapid fire with Raul. If you have questions about the product, please ask them. You can comment. We'll make sure we address them, or hit the little question mark to the right. If you're just joining us, this entire video will be on our Instagram feed right after we get done, but you can also find it on our website and YouTube channel tomorrow, and on our podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday, the 23rd. Before we get into rapid fire questions, did you have any questions for Raul?
One last question I had before we jumped into the rapid fire is, as somebody who's done like TriShop and is starting this business with Quick Optimal and has a lot of experience and has also gone through many hardships to get to where they are, especially with this business, what would you say to somebody who is looking to take the leap to start a business or pursue a dream? What would you say to that person?
I would always say to make the jump and not be afraid. I mean, I just I'd rather fail and learn my lessons and move on and try again than to not ever try and always wonder what could have happened. Like this way, you know, if it works, awesome. If it doesn't work, then I at least know that I gave it my best shot, and that's always gonna make me feel good going into whatever else I decide to do. So that's the approach that I take.
Yeah, and I second that. So I teach marketing at the college level, and I ask my students after we do stuff on the board, who's taking a picture of this and sending this idea for marketing to the company? And 98, 99% of them are like shaking their heads no. And there's always one student, and I get to share this story today. He told me in class today that he took a chance, sent an email to a Fortune 500 company, and has an interview with the director of marketing next week. Like, he's like, I just took a chance. See, what's the worst that happens? They tell me no, and I keep preaching that. So, Raul, thank you for reinforcing that concept and idea, because worst case scenario, they say no. Best case scenario is you learn the lesson from that no and you get better at it. So we call these our rapid fire questions, Raul, but take time to think about it. These are just, you know, we talk a lot about serious topics leading up to this point, and now we just want to have fun. So when you're out running, whether you're running up and down mountains or running on a treadmill, are you listening to a podcast, to music, or nothing at all?
I switch it up. Sometimes I go with no music. Sometimes it's a podcast, and sometimes it's music. I'd say
what
podcast.
You right now?
I listen a lot to Lewis Howes.
Awesome, yeah. And pretty soon the Red Bike Fireside Chats, right? And then if you're listening to music, favorite genre of music and favorite artist?
Everything. For running, I do like a lot of EDM. Just like the beats. It's kind of zone out and keep me going.
All right, so now we dive into the food portion of our show, despite talking about keto nutrition for a while. When it comes to pizza, are you a fan of pineapple on pizza, or are you like, get that stuff away from my pizza?
Finally, after 10 consecutive pineapples on pizza, we got somebody teaming up with Jason here.
When it comes to candy corn, is candy corn a real candy, or is it just candle wax pretending to be candy?
No candy corn for me.
No candy corn. By the way, I mentioned this during Halloween, but and Thanksgiving, they were introducing a bacon flavored candy corn, which I can't imagine anything worse than regular candy corn than bacon flavored candy corn. So when it comes to Peeps, are they something you'll enjoy or something you throw away immediately?
Yeah, not my thing.
It's got too much sugar in it anyway. It's a marshmallow. So do you eat marshmallows when you're out camping? So when you roast the marshmallow, are you burnt to a crisp or lightly tanned? I got to go burnt to a crisp. I need that to just charcoal it off. That's my favorite. Red velvet. Is red velvet a flavor, or is it just chocolate cake with red dye?
say it's a flavor. I like red velvet. Yeah.
All right, we're starting to lose our friendship, Raul. We got to pick. You're in Dallas, Texas. Barbecue. Do you like it Texas style, North Carolina style, or Kansas City style? Which is, for the people who don't know,
what do you? Yeah.
Typically brisket, right? Is typically the smoked brisket. And then this is my last question, Om. If you've got some to follow up, that'd be great. Pizza. There are 3 styles that I recognize: New York style, Chicago style, or Detroit style. Which one are you going with? Chicago. Oh. Don't want on your pizza. You can't put pineapple in tomato soup. It wouldn't taste right. Raul, thank you so much for joining us. Let people know where they can find you, whether it's on social media, your website's up and coming, but give that address so that people know to look for it, bookmark it.
Thank you guys so much.
So it's QO Nutrition,
QO-nutrition.com. And we're at QO Nutrition on Instagram.
Awesome. Guys, make sure you're on the lookout for this product. Raul's going to hit it out of the park. He did a great job with Try Shop, and I have no doubt we're going to see big things from him and QO Nutrition in the future. Raul, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to following your journey
you guys. Appreciate
into the future.
You too.
Thank you.
Have a great night.